So it's based on that I will be...
You are recording?
Yes, I am recording. Oh, I thought I was doing it under the reader.
I'm watching you. I'm watching you.
Oh, you've seen okay, all right. We'll officially start. I'm going to share the screen, so I'll just put, just in case this is what we talk about, I'm going to put the thingy. And then I would say welcome to... Okay, we're about to start recording, or rather, we're about to start. So I'm going to click my fingers twice and then we'll go. You okay?
Yes, I'm right.
Up and down, take a breath, pray. Father Lord, we commit this into your hands and we pray that we will say the right things for the people that need to hear it, in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. And welcome again to our interview today. I am so pleased to have this lady with us today. Her name is Tutu. I met her a few years ago. She was just reminding me of when I met her. Maybe she'll tell the story later. But anyway, I just want you to meet her. I mean, I told her that I'm interviewing, I would like to interview different women to get their approach to life and work and business, you know, and to just have conversations with some of the interesting women that I've met, you know, along the way. So I met Tutu a few years ago, and we've had several wonderful conversations, and I knew that I just had to have her on there. So, hello, Tutu.
Hello, Emma.
How are you?
I'm okay. I'm good, thank you.
You told me you were going for a walk today. Did you go?
Not yet. I just delayed it. I think I'll go later in the day.
Okay.
Yeah, just make sure that I'm not rushing through. I've got a few things to do before then.
Okay, you're looking nice. Got all dolled up for us. Anyway, welcome. So, I think you're the first person we are having this kind of conversation with.
Oh, wow. No pressure then.
First of all, Tutu said to me, no, you have to tell me what we're going to talk about. And I was like, no, let's just come and talk. And why are you like that? Why are you like that?
Well, thank you. Firstly, thank you for having me here. I find it interesting that you think I'm interesting, but hey, here we are. Why am I like that? I just need to know. I think sometimes it's my need to prepare. I don't think you're going to ambush me or there's something that you're going to ask me that I'm not going to have an answer to. But I want to make sure that whatever answers I'm giving is in line with whatever it is you want to know. So it's not just too general.
Okay, so
that you find it useful.
Yeah,
well thought out, and you find it useful for the purpose that you need it for. And that's, for me, is why I asked those questions. I wasn't trying to be
no, I just know. I know. That's very you. That's very you. You know, asking me, okay, what are the questions going to be like, and that kind of thing. That's the kind of thing that you do. You know, so I just wanted to know the thoughts.
So you know me then.
That. Yeah. So anyway, I would like you to share your story with us. And I have just 4 or 5 general questions that I'll ask you.
Okay.
Yeah. So can you tell me about your big dreams? And you can tell me about anything from when you were born or when you came to live in the UK or whatever. But just tell me about your big dreams or your dream.
So, okay, big dreams, that terminology. My big dreams, I think I've had different big dreams at different points in my life. So let's look, for example, as a child, growing up, all I wanted to be was to be a nurse. I mean, those who know me now probably have a good laugh at that. But then thinking back on it now, I realize now that it might be because I had a very close cousin then who was a midwife. And in Nigeria, she was white, the whole outfit and everything. I just thought, this is so cool. She was always working, association with people, the So I think that might have informed my decision as a child, wanting to be a nurse. But of course, yeah, I'm not a nurse now. And looking back as an adult now, it would not have been a good idea.
For you to be a nurse.
No, no, no.
It's so funny. I was
I don't think.
thinking to myself yesterday, I was like, one thing I know for sure is that I do not regret not being a doctor, because I was in medical school for a few years, and then I went on to do, what I do now, but I just thought to myself, I was like, for not one single moment did I ever regret not being a doctor,
Good.
Yeah, but that's interesting. So you want to be a
moving on
nurse?
from there, as I got older, in my like late teens, adolescent years, I thought I wanted to own a company. Now, what that means in real life, I don't think I had a clue at the time. I just thought it was nice to own something and it's yours and you can shape it and, design it and just shape it. Don't ask me what kind of company I wanted to own because I don't know. I didn't know at the time. But I knew I wanted to own something. I wanted to lead something. I think that might speak to my leadership qualities, if I can call it that. Growing up, I feel like I've always been a leader in some way or form. And I mean, spare a thought for my poor brothers. They were probably my first clients, shall I say. I'm an only girl, having a sister that kind of is always telling you what to do. Yeah, but they survived it, so I wasn't that bad. And then that kind of moved on. So those were kind of like the big things. I knew I wanted to do something really important. I knew I would. I've never doubted that I would be, I would do well, even as a child. I always knew. I just had the sense that I would. I mean, looking back now, I do laugh sometimes because I'm like, what did I know? I was too serious as a child.
But you were so sure.
I was so sure that, it's going to be great and I'm going to be this person that's really important.
So that's a wonderful thing, growing up without
so that's how I've always felt. And I never thought that, I would be in a situation when I, as an adult, where I wouldn't be able to like achieve things and I would be held back or whatever. That never really occurred to me until I become an adult, and life does happen. So I think for me, those were kind of like the big dreams. Looking back now, I was right and I was wrong. Obviously not a nurse, but in terms of owning something, I can see where I get a bit of my passion from. Wanting to do stuff, wanting to lead and design things. And
do you think that kind of thing is something that somebody can learn? That having that almost like confidence or certainty, or
I think part of it is you can learn it. I think there's a nature side of it and then there's a nurture side of it. Okay, you might not have. I think you can learn it definitely, but then depending on whatever circumstances you found yourself and your own belief in yourself. I think the self-belief is what's most important. If you don't have that, it's really difficult to build on that. But if you have a self-belief in yourself, you can probably do it. Yeah. And also, I think depending on how you've grown up as well. Some people have people around them, maybe parents or people that brought them up, who've just believed, in them. I mean, my mother, when I was a child, I think she never really gave me a sense that there was nothing I couldn't do. I think that in a way, she probably fueled it as a child.
Yeah. I really understand what you're saying. You know what? I was gonna say, we're having this interview at the time of the Black Lives Matter thing.
Yeah.
So I've been thinking about myself and being a Black person, and how come I never really identified with that? How come I never really, and what I came to the conclusion was that growing up, we never really felt that there was any limitation. We didn't feel like, oh, we can't go to this school because I'm Black, or I can't do this because, that kind of thing. So, and that's not to, cast any whatever on the experience of Black people in other, in other, in other nations, especially the Americas. But I think our upbringing was such that, well, we didn't really have that thing of like, oh, you have that thing holding you back. I remember, let me tell you a funny story. I remember
Okay.
when I first came to live in the UK, and I was in doing my master's in.
Okay.
So anyway, on the way back from school in the night, stopped at the news agents to buy a paper that I could read on the train, and I bought this paper. It was called The Voice,
Okay.
And when I got into the train and sat down to read the paper, I opened it and it was a black paper. It was all about black people and, we the black people.
You were wondering what the fuss was about.
I actually hid the paper. I was like, I don't want anybody to see me reading this. I don't want to be one of these militant black people that want to, everything has to be about being black. So I never really, identified with it, So this, funny enough, this time is actually making me like rethink all those things, and evaluate, how my experience as a black person.
I mean, obviously, our experience growing up in Africa, growing up in Nigeria, our experience is slightly different from those who have grown up, in places like the United Kingdom, in America, and in other countries of the world. Because when you were growing up, everybody was black. So that's not to say there were no other kind of prejudice, going on. The ethnic prejudice.
Or she's from this part of the country.
And there's still a bit of class system going on there as well. We still have our own issues, so it's not like it's all perfect. But you're not really fully aware of your blackness, if I can put it that way. I didn't realize how big of an issue it is on a personal level until I moved to the UK, for example. I mean, you just carried on, didn't you?
Yeah. So it was not like you're not afraid to like talk to a white person or do business with a white person, or you don't really see any difference. You didn't see it. Like, I always used to joke when I first came, I was like, I didn't know I was black until I came to live in because it's like every single thing that you do, oh, fill this form, are you black? Oh, we just want to know whether you're black or not, so that we will make sure that. I was like, that's when you now realize that, oh, okay, I'm actually black. But yeah, anyway, so you were talking about having that certainty and whatever, and then you made a statement about life happens. So tell me about some life happens moments in your, things that, when you talk about your story, there's always some defining moments, in your story.
I mean, I think so many defining moments for me, depending on what it is we're talking about. I moved to the UK about 15 years ago, and obviously that was a major life change for me, from living at home, with my parents, and then moving to the UK to study. And it's a whole different world that you just have to now understand and then come to terms with, and then see where you. So I think I had a bit of a confidence shake there, because I've come from, I would say that I had a sheltered upbringing. It wasn't the case, but it's just a whole different world that you then have to navigate and then try and find work in the right field. And then even the educational system, I schooled all my life in Nigeria before then, and then now I'm in the UK. And there was a time I remember going to class, and the lecturer was talking, and people were asking questions and answering. And I just thought to myself, are we in the same school? Like, these guys are in the same class as me, right? Like, I'm trying to understand what they are saying, what the lecturer is saying, to make sure that I understand what we're discussing. You guys already have questions. I'm still here trying to understand what it is that we're studying. So I think for me that was a huge change, and it had to take a lot of and I come from my background in Nigeria, where academically I've done really well. So I'm thinking, have I made a mistake? So I started questioning myself. Am I actually as bright as I thought I was? Have I made a mistake? When I look back now and I realize that there are cultural differences, educational differences in terms of how subjects were being taught and application. I
Yeah.
get it now, but I didn't get it then. So I think that was a moment for me where I had to kind of reevaluate everything. I think,
Yeah, I think it came from a place where they would say, today we're going to talk about the three steps to this. And then they say step one, then you write down the notes of what the step one is, and then they say step two, and then you write down the notes, and then you understand it, but then here it was, especially if it's a master's you came to do, here it's kind of like more fluid. They
like case studies.
Yeah, exactly. They want you to bring your own ideas. They want you to, yeah.
So not to say that that's wrong, but I had not lived in this country prior to that time. I had not even visited. So you're asking me for examples about like management practices and things like that. I have not even worked in this country. How am I going to bring all of that into this, into this learning? So I kind of struggled a little bit with that aspect of it. But in the end, it was okay. I mean, I graduated, so I don't think I done that bad, that badly. It was just a bit of a confidence shaking moment for me. I remember for the very first time in my life, I was kind of aware that I don't know everything, so I had to then think, okay, we are here now. What should I do? How do I bridge this gap? So that's actually a lot of self-learning, on my own to be able to bridge that gap in terms of the actual work when I then went on to start working. I think for me, another defining moment was birth of my daughter. When I gave birth to her, she's 5 and a couple of months now, Olivia. And pregnancy went okay, as well as it could. It was really uneventful, is how I would describe it. And then I gave birth to her, everything was fine. But then, a few months into that, she was then diagnosed with a serious medical condition, chromosomal deletion, which has impact on, it would have an impact on her for the rest of her life. So in terms of her development, cognitive behavior, everything, learning, everything. And I think in a way that just absolutely shattered me as a person, because I just could not understand how that would happen. And I went and did so much research. I looked on the internet, probably shouldn't have looked on the internet, but lots of research on the internet, speaking to specialists, and I just thought, how can it be that you can?
I remember you said it's a rare condition, so it's not as if you could find many people that had it, or or many.
Yeah, so it's called a 1p36 chromosomal deletion, and in the UK, there's about 1 in 5,000 children. So. And immediately that diagnosis happened, one thing that the consultant said to me is that, you might struggle to find other people, other parents like you. And I thought, really? That bad? And he said, you might really, so don't worry about it. It's just a rare condition. And, you have dreams when you're growing up or when you get married about what your child is going to look like, what's the things you're going to do together. And you're going to, play together, do this together. And me being I don't have a sister. So me having a girl first, it's like, oh, how exciting, I'm going to have another girl. We can we'll really be girly together and all that. And then to just think that, that might not actually happen. And it's like, why is this even happening? Why does it have to happen to me? I'm really distraught about it. So I think for me, that was a life-changing moment as well, because it made me question my own understanding of life. It made me think about what why do I, if I say, why is this happening to me? Who else should it have happened to? Who else should it have happened to? It just made me question everything, really, to say, how can you have a pregnancy that is so an event where I was not ill, I was fine. And then all of a sudden, you just get, how does God choose the people that he just dumps this kind of, things
it's
on?
Funny. I read in the news yesterday or the day before, some guy that we knew when we're in Nigeria, who he lost his wife. And then he said something about how life is a mystery.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like when something like that happens, the life you thought you understood, you don't understand anymore. Yeah. It's like life is such a mystery. Like, how do, it's not something you can predict.
No.
I mean, same thing with this, what we're doing with this, let me say what we're doing with this Corona, COVID-19 and, everything else that's going on. It's not something that we could have ever predicted, it's not something that you could have ever prepared for, in any way to say, oh, when this happens, this is what we're going to do, or when this happens, that's what we're going to do. But it just was completely out of the blue. We couldn't have thought it would happen, or, So, but I know you're a woman of faith.
Yes.
Yeah. So did everybody say to themselves, oh, don't worry, Tutu's got this. She's a very, very strong Christian woman.
That was part of my questions, actually. I'm like, God, I do everything that, is required of me as a Christian. Why do I have to deal with this in addition, to everything else? So definitely there was a lot of come to Jesus moments for me there.
Did he answer you?
I'm sorry?
You said you asked him questions. I'm asking, did he answer you?
In a way it did, yeah. Because in a way it did. I mean, I didn't hear a voice from heaven while I was walking down the road and, thunder and lightning and I fell to the ground. It didn't happen that way. Yeah. But I asked questions to say, God, how could you have allowed this, to happen? Not just that she was just put on me, but also for our own sake as well. Not just for me, but for our sake as well, because I'm thinking the world is difficult enough as it is, as a fully able person. Has to still navigate all the challenges of everything. Then as a woman, there's an additional layer. You have to deal with the sexism in the workplace, how people perceive you as a woman and what their expectations are of you. And then to then have a disability,
of everything.
On everything again. And it's like, why does she have to deal with it? She's not done anything wrong in his life. So I was asking those questions. I think part of the answers that I got when I was praying and, reading the Bible and all is that nothing is a surprise to God. I just felt as if God was saying, you might not have been expecting her, but I knew fully well what our journey was going to be. And you don't own her. I think this was the one that, in a way, I was a bit annoyed with God, because he said, you don't own her. You are a parent. You've brought her into the world. Your job is just to help her navigate the world. She's not your property.
She's not yours. She's not your property.
And I'm like, excuse me.
What do you mean?
She's my child. Mine. And they don't. Well, technically, not really. You are a parent. You don't own her. She's a child, but she got. I own her, and I knew, whatever was going to happen was going to happen. I'm not surprised. So if I am a father and I am not surprised, and I already knew, and I'm going to make provision for whatever she needs. If I'm okay with it as a father, then you have to be okay with it, because you are just a vessel, that's brought it into the world.
It's interesting.
And I think in a way that it did annoy me, and I'm like, no, this can't be. Maybe I'm hallucinating. It cannot be.
You didn't hear properly.
Maybe my voice is playing tricks on me. I mean, maybe my mind is playing tricks on me. But then over time, I've come to understand what that actually means, and I'm just like, actually, yeah, I think that's, and it gave me a change in attitude, because I went through a period, almost a year, where I didn't take her to church. But just too many things going on. I didn't really go anywhere with her. Not because I didn't want to, but when I think of all the things that go, how many bags I have to pack just to go, somewhere, and I just can't be bothered with all of this. And I just basically, either I stayed at home with her and my husband would go to church, or he would stay at home.
Yeah.
And I would go to church. But it pushed me to say, just do it. Just eventually, after I had that better understanding, I just thought, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's do it. I'm just going to take each day as it comes. Give her what I think what she needs. And ask for help. And on the days where I don't know what to do, it's okay for me to be frustrated, and that's okay. But just And that change in attitude, I think it changed everything for me. It changed my relationship with her. It changed my relationship with the world. It changed my relationship with myself. And it just made me realize that I was so self-centered. What's good for me? What do I want to achieve? It was all about me. It made me see the world in a completely different way as well. I'm not saying I'm now perfect, but Olivia's disability introduced me to people I would never have met ordinarily. I found a community of people online and offline. Looking back now, I'm like, what would my world be like if I didn't have these people in them? You know what I mean?
Is, knowing you and meeting you and meeting Olivia, you are so easy, with her. You don't even maybe try to struggle to explain her to people, or she's just Olivia.
Just there. I mean, what's the point? What's the point? She's just there. She's a part of our family, a very important part. Most of our decision is centered
around her own personality as well.
Her personality. Yeah. She's got a bit of sassiness to her these days, a bit too much sometimes, but but we just enable her to do. We don't worry too much about what she's unable to do. There's a lot she can't do when you want to start comparing her with, children her age, for example. We don't do that. We don't do that at all. I mean, she's got a little brother now. We can just
I remember when I used to each time I'll see like maybe a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old talking, I'll get so vexed because I'm like, look, she's just talking full sentences and I can barely get my son to say one word.
Yeah, I know that feeling. And you see children, and maybe when you have children visit you, and I love children, everybody that knows me knows that, and I absolutely love children. And I just love their company because I think they are so honest. I absolutely love their honesty. There's no airs and grace about children. They just tell it as it is. They're not happy, you know about it. I love it. So when you have children come to the house and they're like, why is she not standing up? Why is she acting like a baby? Is she a baby? Sometimes I'm like, why does she have to experience it? And then I think, okay, how can I make it better for these kids? Because obviously something in them is saying, this is different from the norm.
Yeah.
So how can I explain it to them? And sometimes I can see their parents' embarrassment, like, oh my God, as my child just said that. And I'm like, that's okay. At the end of the day, it's what you are thinking. They're just able to verbalize, verbalize it. And then try and explain it to them in a way that they would understand it. And most times they do. They'll be like, oh, okay. And then the next time, when they see her, they kind of have an idea of, that she's a little bit different from them. And they just play with her how she is.
Yeah.
And I look at her and Olivia's changed my life because I look at her and I'm like, she worries for nothing, right? She just wakes up each day knowing that her needs will be met. When Jesus talks about that childlike faith, that is an example living in my own home. I don't see her waking up thinking she hasn't got clothes to wear. She just wakes up and she just leaves. Yeah, the day's gonna go how the day's gonna go, and I'll be okay at the end of it. And I just key into that. That's a teach that has taught me a lot. I stop worrying. I don't say that there are not occasions where I don't worry for her or about her, but I just remember that look, she's not worried. Okay. The child is not worried. What's your own? And if God has said, I knew about her, so he's going to make a provision on how she's going to get her emotional needs met, educational, psychological, whatever. And I just say, God, I'm just going to rely on you to teach me what do I need to be doing in this moment. And I get those revelations from time to time. And when I say revelations, I'm not talking about going into a trance or anything like that, but it might just be a word less on my mind. Why don't you try this place? Try this place, and I'll find out in that time. That's what she needs. She wants a community of people that are like this who can just play with her. Or why don't you ring that person and ask for advice? And I do. And it just kind of works. So it just made me realize, why are you trying? Why am I trying? And that filters into all the different areas of my life. Why am I trying to work out my work situation on my own? Reach out for help.
Ideally, knowing you're the kind of person that would normally, and I'll put that in quotes, normally you are the kind of person who wants to know like 7 steps ahead of everything, you know. So this has actually helped you to change that kind of you know, not be so rigid in that way, you know, and you're better for it.
Oh, absolutely. I'll say I'm better for it. I don't worry these days. I mean, I was speaking to my mother-in-law, and she said, I've observed you. And I don't, okay, so we are opposites, right? My mother-in-law can worry. She worries so much. She worries so much. It's unbelievable how much she worries, right?
She
I love her.
it's her job.
In case she's listening, I do love you. But she worries so much. And she said, do you not worry about anything? Are you not worried? Do you not worry about this job? Do you know what? And I looked at her and I laughed and I said, no, I don't actually.
It's true. There's that, and I still remember. I still remember and laugh when my mom about something that my mom said to me about how when a child is ill, you run around. Because my child was ill and she didn't see me running around.
Yeah.
When you run around, you know, like that's what I said. But is there anything she needs that I've not given her or whatever, you know? But it's more like you know, you have to show that you're frantic.
I mean, it's from a good place. It's coming from a good place because they are trying to help. And they want you to do well, and they think, you know, this is the one thing that might stop you from doing as well as you should, and maybe there's something else out there that can be done. And what I found in specialist communities, that there's a lot of information out there, and there's also a lot of people who are ready to take advantage of you know, of disabled people and their family, or people trying to look for help that just want to cash in on that because they know that you are in that frantic, frenetic stage, and they just say, oh, if you try this, or if you try that, if you try this. And then ultimately, you just need to be all right with it at some point. Not to say,
I know exactly.
Not to say you don't seek out, you know, therapies or things, but all this. And if you just suppose that
you just reminded me of one thing I went for, you know, and I think it was almost like a convention of people coming with all their different remedies. Mm-hmm. And there was one with enzymes, therapy. This one was the coconut water. This one was that, go to hyperbaric chamber. Another one was talking about some, you know, something therapy. Another one was talking about almost like deliverance, but what do they call it? Like all this shaman,
like healers,
the healing, you know, healing kind of thing, cleansing, and you know, all in the same place. And it was that same day that I told my friend that was the day that God said to me, "Stop.
Enough. Yeah, you know, enough. There's all that, and then there are people that will bring it to you as well. Because if we come from like a Nigerian African background, you know, there's no acceptance in society of people who are disabled. We see them as something that needs to be corrected. Yeah. Something that we need to change them, and we need to. Whereas if we look at it in the true sense of it, there are so many disabled people in the world. If you're going to break down like genetics, we can see that some of us actually have something in our genetics that means that we're a little bit quirky. Just that the spectrum is so wide that maybe this person might be on this end and that person might be on that end. And they're just not some, and we just think, oh, it's because you're not praying. I mean, I've had somebody say to me that, and I can never forget this. I'm forgiving her, but I still haven't forgotten. And she said to me, she's an older woman, and she said to me that, oh, you know, the Bible says that whatever you allow on earth is what is allowed in heaven. I said, I said, this disability she has it because I've allowed it. If I reject it, it will be rejected in heaven. And I was like, you know, I didn't understand the truth. You know, when something hits you and you didn't process it, you just sitting on your feet. And then when you get to me, I'm like, is this some sort of expensive joke? Is this, what kind of careless talk is this? I mean, I look back now and I see that.
Actually careless talk.
I look back now because it's basically putting the responsibility on you, saying, you know, you've caused it. and if you prayed enough, if you fast enough, if you believe enough, then God will change it. And I've had people say this to me at different points in time, both directly and indirectly. Now, will I allow that to then shape, my outlook of life, or to make me hate them or whatever? I mean, I'm not saying those things are not hurtful, but I just let it go, because to be honest, some people are just ignorant, and there's not much you can do about it.
The funny
And
thing is,
also,
I noticed that a lot. When I was chasing after, remedies for this and remedies. I'm talking about my children that are autistic. In case you don't know what I'm talking about, when I was chasing after remedies, it actually took my focus off the child.
Yeah,
You have to take your focus off your children. You're trying to fix them, or and then you read the stories and like, there's one, they call it Autism Center of America or something like that, and then they do something, they say you have to build a room in your house. I'm not saying that it doesn't work. You have to build a room in your house, you have to mirror them. If they do anything, you do what they're doing.
how long are you
Your
going to do that
focus
for?
off your child. That's just the point I'm trying to make. It took my focus off my child, of seeing him, of accepting him, of loving him the way he is.
Because you're busy trying to change him. You're trying to change him into the kind of child you would have wanted, not the one that you've actually got.
Yeah.
I just think, and I think now I've come to a stage where I'm okay with it, and I've just taken it. She has, additional needs. I'm just okay with that now. Can we move on? That's just one side of so
Yes,
special additional needs are one part of her. She's still a person. She still likes what she likes. She dislikes what she dislikes. She needs what she needs. Can we also focus on all those other things? That's not to say that I don't have days where I'm absolutely exhausted. And there are some days where I just can't. I just don't want to get out of bed. I just want to, really lie down there and just feel sorry for myself. I do have those days, but I don't let them consume me. Recently I was praying as well. I was praying for her, and I was just like, God, obviously you knew she's going to be who she is. So she starts in primary school in September, right? What do you want for her? What is your plan? What do you want her to do? And what do you want my own role to be in this? Because it was really important for me. And I was just praying, and I just felt like God was just not saying anything to me. And I just like, okay, whatever. I just carried on, as normal. And one day I was sitting there, and it was almost like a voice just came to me and said, and then referred me to the Bible, where it says, let the little children come to me. And I was like, I don't even know where that is. I Googled it. And it said, let the children come to me, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And he said, did you notice I said there that let all the little children come to me? And he don't say, let all the fully able children come to me. He said, did you notice that it says, let the little children? Did you notice that Jesus was calling Olivia as well when he was calling all the children? So take her to him, He didn't make a distinction between kind of child. He did not divide them based on their abilities. I only want the vocal children. I don't want the non-verbal ones. I don't want the ones that cannot walk. I don't want the ones on a wheelchair. It says, let all children come to me. So just let it be that. And I just thought, oh my God, how many times have I read this Bible passage? I did not think, and it was like, you have to show her off. You have to take her out. She has to go for walks. You have to take her swimming. You have to take her to music therapy, dancing, whatever it is, whether it looks right or not. If she enjoys it, you must take her. You have to do that, because Jesus is calling her, as he's calling, your younger one who is fully able. That one is at least even bit too spicy, that boy. But you have to, the same way you want to ensure that it's fully developed, developmentally is okay. You have to do that for her as well, because when Jesus is calling children, she and her friends in her class, they are also included in that number. So that's your job to do. I was like, okay, we do that then, shall we?
That's interesting, because it kind of changes the way you approach things, doesn't it?
Yeah.
it changes the way you have, you just have a different mindset
Yeah.
towards, okay, how is she going to be in school? How am I going to talk to her teachers? That kind of thing, what are your expectations? What are, the things that you're going to have to fight for, or to be relaxed about, whatever it is, that kind of, it actually, that's the beauty of the having that resource.
Yes.
Resource of the Holy Spirit. So I want you to tell us a bit about your faith and
My faith. I think
which parts of your life it touches, apart from
all of it, all of it. I think my faith is probably the biggest thing in my life. And I have a pragmatic kind of faith. I'm not a religious person. There's nothing I have to do at 2 p.m. or at 5 p.m. or I must pray before I eat my food. I must pray over. I'm not that kind of Christian. My faith is really important to me. But the way I look at my faith is that it's part of my life. So I don't have my faith life, my religious life, my Sunday life, and then my
the
day-to-day
rest of
life.
your life?
For me, it's the same thing.
Your work life.
So, or my work life. I work in human resources, but everybody knows me at work, in a work situation, know that I'm a Christian. Not because I wear a cross around my neck or I preach at work. I never do. Ever, ever, ever. I never open the Bible and say, let me speak to you from the book of John.
Let me share something with you.
But if you ask me, I'm not afraid to talk about it. My faith informs everything that I do. Not to say that that means I get it right all the time. No. But my marriage, my faith is a huge part of it. In fact, my faith was how I started my marriage.
Mm. You're going to have to say that again. Your sound's gone wonky. Can you hear me? Yeah. Did you knock something over? What's happening here? Okay. Right. Okay. Well, keep going
Yeah,
anyway.
that's great now. It's back.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right.
So I think my faith
You're talking about your faith and your marriage.
it's how we do things. It's how we, not to say that we are a perfect couple, we never will be. But it's important to me and it's important to Penny, my husband, as well. So the way we raise our children, especially with Olivia, it has to be by faith, because a lot of things sometimes we don't see a way out, but we tend to take things in place of prayer. And sometimes we just wait and let's let God tell us what he wants us to do. Okay. So I think every aspect of my life, it's something that is part of me. Now, I don't force it on people, or I don't have an expectation that, in a religious kind of forced sense of manner. It's just really part of what I do, kindness, love.
Mm-hmm.
Those, because we want to talk about, as Christians, what I've noticed is that we want to talk about faith that moves the mountain. But nobody wants to talk about forgiving your somebody that has wronged you. I can see you roll your eyes. I know that feeling. We don't want to talk about, forgiving people. When the Bible says to pray for those that hurt you, we don't. That's part of our faith too, right? We don't want to talk about that. So for me, it's not the praying in tongues and the miracles side of things that's most important for me. For me, it's the day-to-day.
It's the day-to-day.
How I live my life. And I just sometimes, when you're not sure whether, to take a job, for example, God, what would you have me do? Not to say that every time I pray, God is just there saying, my child, this is the way you should go. But I mean,
I don't think God always says, oh, go right, go left. Sometimes he just
doesn't really, he just keeps quiet, and it's like, sometimes just whisper something in your heart and you think, okay, let's do that. But then I also make sure that I position myself in the best way possible so that if an opportunities come, for example, I'm ready. So I'm saying I'm believing God for a job. I'm also making sure that I have my continuous professional development ready. I'm putting myself on LinkedIn. I'm putting myself on where people that I think might want to work with me will find me. So my faith pushes me to do my bit as well, not for me to be praying at 3 o'clock in the morning until 4 a.m. in the hope that, thunder will strike the next day and I will earn $1 million. I mean, $1 million would be great, actually, but, maybe not in that manner. So my faith is a big part of my life. It's part of my relationships, and it's just how it is.
Awesome. We have a visitor. Oh, yeah.
Hello.
Wow.
It is his home. It is his home, so he's entitled to be there, right? He lives there.
He's looking for a drink. I know what he's looking for. He's looking for a drink, ginger ale, and there's none in the fridge. What do I want to ask you? Okay, so you talked about your face. Your work. Tell us about your work. What kind of work? What's your work like? You make it look interesting. You make it sound interesting.
Yeah, because it is interesting. Human beings are interesting, right?
So human resources.
Yes. So I work in human resources. I'm an HR consultant, and I work with different businesses to make sure that they are they're complying with the law. And I also give advice on HR strategies, things like the gender pay gap, at the moment about COVID, the pandemic, the furloughing. So I give or more recently, I've also certified as a mental health first aider. So I look at employee well-being, and I help companies with what should we be doing to ensure the mental health of our staff is as it should be, to increase their productivity, maybe just to keep them happy, make sure that everybody's okay. So I would look at that, and I'll profile solutions and implement them, and also the day-to-day things like salaries, contracts of employment, keeping my clients out of court. Where possible, making sure that there's compliance, and sometimes it's the difficult stuff like dismissals. So I kind of what you would describe as an HR generalist. So I would support employers from entry to exit. So from bringing people in.
Okay.
So what happens when they
are there, and then
Yeah.
So do you find that you have maybe a specific area that you found that you're really good at, or that you really have like almost like a gift for, or you're like a knack for?
I think employee relations, and more recently mental health. Employee relations, and I'll explain because one of it flows into the other. Employee relations in terms of how the interaction between the employers and those that work for them. Sometimes the difficult conversations, I find that I'm not afraid of having them, with them. It never occurred to me that there is a conversation that cannot be had. Okay.
What do you mean by give an example of a difficult conversation?
With work, it would be somebody that's not doing what you expect of them, and you're considering whether to support them first to find out why. Is it a performance issue? Is it that they're not capable of doing it, or they are capable, or are you trying to exit them, basically dismiss them? Those are conversations I'm not afraid to ask the questions. But sometimes you find that employers are saying, oh, we want this person to go. How can we do it legally? Those are the kind of questions that I get asked.
How can we do it nicely, or what?
And I say, I don't think some of them are worried about doing it nicely. They just want to be legal. That's all. And I'm not afraid to ask questions like, what have you done to support this person whilst they've been here? How did you recruit them? You find that maybe they recruited them because somebody knows somebody. And then now you're surprised that they can't do the job. Hello? Do you think that you have a problem? Do you think the problem is you and not them? like those kind of conversations, I'm not afraid to have them. So I think that's why the employee relations side of things, and then maybe making redundancies and things. How can we do that? How can we support people through that process? Now, more recently, I found myself going towards the well-being side of things because there's a ticking mental health problem in the UK, and I think this COVID situation has made it even worse because now people are in isolation.
Kind of like you think the COVID situation has exposed what was already there?
Yeah, it's brought it to the front of the agenda. So in the past, so mental health, well-being, things like that are things that are like nice to have, you know, in companies. Yeah, we're doing something about well-being. We have one well-being day a year. You know, it was just for now. It's like it's no longer a nice to have. You must have it. Although the law doesn't, there's no compulsion here. But I think as a matter of time, the law would have to be, it would have to be, you know, some sort of statutory law of some kind. So I think I'm finding myself going more.
Can you make it clearer or more concrete when you talk about if I'm an employer rather? Tell me one or two things I can do to help people. Are you talking about how to help everybody in general, or are you talking about how to help people individually? You know,
both actually. Generally, I would say a risk assessment of, let's start with stress. At the moment, I have tools that I would use to advise to say, okay, let's assess the stress level of your staff. For example, they are at home with their children, they are homeschooling, they are working, they're cooking. Children are eating 10 times a day instead of so they don't have any break.
They're keeping odd hours, all kinds of
odd hours. What's the stress level like, for example? And then when we assess that, then we're looking at what can we do so that people are at this end of the spectrum. What can you change in terms of your processes to start with, where expectation of performance before might be that you deliver the report 7 a.m. or 9 a.m. on a Monday morning. Is that really necessary? You know, is that as long as they're getting it, do you really need it on Monday, or is it just something that's always been done that way? And you just are you able to make adjustments around that? And then maybe some stuff
like things actually do sound like common sense in a way.
Yeah, but it's not that you would think, right? And also maybe people that have like maybe some predisposing factors. If you've had staff that have had mental health problems in the past, are you checking in with them? Do your managers know what to do? If somebody says to them, you know what, I'm stressed, I just can't do this anymore, logs out of Zoom, and that happens. Logs out of Zoom during a team. Does the manager know how to address that conversation? Have you equipped them with the necessary skills to go and speak to this person and say, what's going on? How are you and how can I help? You know, have you equipped your managers to be able to do that? Or are you just assuming that because somebody is a manager, they should know, they should get on with it?
Or they'll say, oh, that crazy lady.
Yeah, I think using the right language.
You know, Zoom meeting, you know.
To describe. So it's things like that, which in the long run, you would see that it does make a difference to the bottom line. It's not just about the work, but also the well-being of the people that when we are having difficult conversations with people, when somebody's performance is not great, and we're already following the different stages of the performance review, for example, where we eventually, they know that they might be dismissed. How are we looking after them in that time? Well, even if eventually they do end up being dismissed, how are we making sure that we're doing it in a dignified way, and we're not just, you know, throwing people to the wolves? That makes sense.
That's really
so it's just things like that that I'm finding myself, I'm doing a lot more of the soft side of things. Not to say that I can't do the hard side of things, but the world is changing. We all have to adapt to how things are done. We can't just do things the way that we've always done them before. We also need to think, what is changing? How can we change? How do we manage staff who are now all working from home? So if you are a manager who is used to looking at, maybe you have 20 people that work for you, you all sit around in an open desk office. Now they are in 20 different households.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's so funny because I'm meant to have somebody's meant to call me at 4. o'clock today, and she said to me, "Oh, I close at 2:30," and then I said, "Okay, so call me at 4. I'm on a call," and she says, "Oh, I'm back at work at 5:30, so I'll call you at 4." So which made me realize that, okay, instead of doing the normal 9 to 5, she's probably doing up to 2:30, and then taking that break, and then starting at 5:30 maybe for the next couple of hours. So
so she might need that time for
yeah,
herself to relax, or maybe to help
to do
with
things around the
homeschool.
house.
For us, on a personal level, there are some times where I would stop working. So Kenny is a morning person. Even in this COVID time, he's still getting up at 6 something in the morning to pray, to get ready for the day, to start work before 8 o'clock. I can't do that. Okay, it's just not going to be. My eyes are not fully open yet, right? So we come to an agreement where he would start his day early while I'm still dragging myself around, and then
And
it would
look after the kids
it
too.
would take. I would use that morning time to look after the kids, make sure everybody's okay, blah blah blah. Then I start my own day later on in terms of my work day. I start my calls, so I won't schedule any call before 10 o'clock in the morning. I just would not do it because I don't think I'll be awake enough to be able to sound coherent. And then I have my breakfast, then I start my day. And then maybe whilst I'm doing my emails in the morning, I help Olivia with some arts or craft or whatever. I will do whatever it is that Peter wants to do, that morning. And towards the end of the day, Kenny will start off the bath time and blah, blah, blah. And then he hands them over to me. He doesn't go to bed. I mean, he goes to bed early. Me, I'm still up. That I feel I'm tired in the morning. I'm up until 12 o'clock, sometimes 1. So that's the time, put them to bed, do whatever else that needs to be done. So it's just finding that balance. Employers also, to make them aware, people are not going to just be able to, if you ask people to choose between their work and their family will always win. I mean, it's very few people that would, choose work instead. So how are you finding the balance to make sure that you're doing the right thing by your employer, and they will remember it as well. It's good for your employer brand.
Yeah,
And they will remember that when things were hard, you supported them.
That would have actually been my next question. Like, is there an opportunity there for the employer? But you've already answered it, that it's
No, definitely there's an opportunity for them to show that they're not just users, if I can use that. It's not just about work, but if you look after your people, they will look after you in return as well.
Yeah, and that is so true. That is so true. So I think we're just about to round up, but we'll use the next like 5 or 10 minutes hearing from you. Share your best wisdom and wisdom for life generally. What's your
I'm
best
not quite sure how to, because when I think about people sharing wisdom, I think about older people, lady.
Okay, best wisdom that you have gained.
I'm thinking, I'm not at that stage yet. But I think that be kind to yourself. This is what works for me. Life is difficult as it is, right? And there's so many challenges that will never change. It will never change. Once you solve one problem, before you know it, another one will crop up. If it's not relating to you, it's relating to your family or somebody in the extended family or work or something. There will always be things, but be kind to yourself. You're doing the best that you can do, right? And that's got to be enough. Do the best that you and be kind to yourself. What I find is that sometimes we look at ourselves and if somebody needed something, if you needed something now, Emmy, I'll do everything I can to try and help you, right? And make sure that you're okay with the best of my ability.
Yeah.
It seems to
do everything for yourself.
For myself. And especially as women, and when we have our families, even when we don't have a family, your brother needs something, you're there for them. Why? Who's there for you? You be there for you. Just be kind to yourself. You're doing the best you can. We have the standards. Oh, I need to be this and I need to be. Yeah, but I mean, we're finding out with this COVID now that most of the things that we thought were important are not that important actually.
As important as we thought they were.
Yeah. Maybe not, and they are not as important as I previously thought, things that.
Flash, as they say. Use flash. It was actually not as important as all that.
Yeah, you're finding out that the number of activities that we packed into our day, we don't actually need that much. And it's giving us that focus now on what's really important, and just be confident in who you are. You are okay as you are. And that's something that I had to come to a conclusion, because I know that I come from a culture where women were mainly, and I don't mean this in a disparaging way, you're expected to be a certain way, you're supposed to be, a wife material. Everybody tells the woman what she should be. Perfect mom. She should be the wife material. She should be, religious. She should be this. Enough. Whoever you are now is what God, who God made you to be.
Yeah.
I am not gentle natured.
My husband will be like, "You're a married woman." I'm like,
what does that even mean?
What does that mean?
Exactly. Everybody's trying to, everybody's trying to dictate to a woman what she should be, who she should be. So there's all this expectation that's on her. Whereas you are okay as you are. You don't need to talk less or talk more. If you talk a lot, that's fine. If you talk less, that's okay. People that are okay with it are going to be okay with you. People that are not okay with you, well, they'll find people they'll be okay with. And I think if we just do that, it frees you up a lot. For me, my parents, I think what they wanted was that quiet, gentle girl who doesn't really rock the boat much, who's just really easygoing and just does what she's told. And then they got me, and it's like, actually, no. Why is this happening this way? And why is that happening? And I'm asking so many questions, and sometimes I can just see that they're just really tired of it. And I think that kind of grew up with me, where I feel like, oh, maybe I need to comply to how people might expect me to be. But then I just realized it's not working. I'm just going to be me. Obviously, I'm not going to be mean to people, but I'm just going to ask questions if I want to know. If I think something is not okay, I'm going to say it's not okay. People that are my people, you will find your own people, as time goes on.
Yeah.
And just be that person.
And she says, Jordan, I'm recording. I had a client and she would say that when she was growing up, people always talked about how much she talked. She was so talkative. They were like, she could, she has come again, But that was actually that's her gift. That was her gift. That's actually what is now has taken her to where she is now. Is her talking. She's good at talking, so
they're trying to, I think what society tries to do is to fit you into a mold of what you should be. Whereas when God created us, he did not do a boring job. Imagine if all of us behaved in the same way. He's just giving us our personality for a reason, our interests, it's put all those things in us, things that we really enjoy doing. There's a reason for all of that. So why are you trying to be who you are not? Why are you trying to come so that people will like you? So what? Why are we so obsessed with being liked? I'm not saying we should actively go out and be hated and do everything we can to be hated, but why don't we just have that self-belief that, you know what, I'm just okay as I am enough as it is. If that work, the job hasn't worked out for me, maybe it's not where I should be, then I'll go and find where I should be, find the people that want me as I am. I'm just going to share an experience with you. I was in a job before where I tried to be the kind of person I thought the company wanted in that position, and I was just trying to present. I was so stressed. I'd never been so stressed in my life.
Like wearing the right thing, talking the right thing.
It was a very patriarchal type organization. And many times I had an opinion about something, it's almost like, here we go again. And I just, basically whatever your boss said was like the ideal, and you just keep your opinions to yourself. You just told the company line. But I was seeing things that I thought, why are we even doing this? Why are we spending time on this? Why are we doing 2-hour long meetings? Why? This meeting could have been an email and would have been gone, right? Why are we doing it? But it was just how it was. And I tried, and I think I stayed there too long. Now, all those things, and part of my feedback is that, yeah, although part of the feedback I got there was about me bringing up ideas, and sometimes it might not be practical to do it that way. It's just best to just do it how it's supposed to be done. Anyway, I left.
Yeah. So you were saying?
So I then went on to, so I was saying that, you know, I haven't come out of that kind of environment where I feel like my creativity and my ideas were being stifled and I needed to be somebody else for everybody to be happy. I left there and then I got in contact. I then started working, you know, in another organization where all those things about me that I was trying to change is exactly what they want. They want me to be loud as I am, right? They want me to have my 1,001 ideas in a day. They want to hear more about it. They want to implement it. They want me to question. And it then made me question everything that I've been doing before. Like, why did I not come and find these people, you know, early on? They don't want me to use any corporate, you know, language, corporate speak. They want me to write as informally, as long as they understand what it is I'm trying to communicate. They don't want me to do a 9 to 5. They don't want me to be sitting at my desk at 9 a.m. They really do not want that. They just want me to get the work done.
Are you saying that when you were in the other place, you didn't think to yourself, there might be this other kind of place out there?
No, I thought to myself, I had to be, you know, I mean, I thought maybe I thought that it would be really hard for me to find somewhere else that is not like this, you know.
Yeah, this is the way it's supposed to be.
Maybe this is the way it's supposed to be. But then, of course, that's a lie. And I didn't know that at the time. So what am I trying to say is that find what works for you, especially with regards to work. Find what works for you. Make sure that that work that you're doing is the work that works. Because we spend a lot of time at work. A lot of our time is spent at work.
You have to say that again in another way. What do you mean when you say find a work that works?
Find a work that works, which means a work that works for you, right? Find the right company culture. I think I went to a phase where I just took on the next job, right? That let's just keep going, let's keep going. But then I was not happy for some of that time because I was just treating it like a job. But then it's not just a job. No job is just a job. We spend a lot of time at work.
Mm-hmm.
So why do you want to spend a lot of time in a place or doing something that you don't actually enjoy doing, around people that you don't enjoy being with? And then you get home, you're not happy, and you're like, I was what? If you know what happened. Not to say that, you know, every work, some work, like the work environment will be perfect. As human beings, there will always be one quirky error there. But you know that the way you're not being rewarded the way you want, you're not doing the kind of work that you actually want to be doing. And sometimes when we have to just do what we need to do.
It works for you. It works for who you are.
Make sure it works for who you are. So now I don't have a 9 to 5, so to say. And everything for me is based on results now, which is, this is what we want to do. This is how we're going to do it. And that works. So find that thing. And I know that sometimes it's difficult. It's a difficult challenge because you're trying to pay the bills. You need the money. While you're doing that, keep doing that, but start looking around. Life is too short to spend so much time doing work that you absolutely hate. So whether you like it or not, it will seep into the other different areas of your life.
Yeah.
Just find this is one part of your life that you can actually change. You can actually change it. So for example, your family, there's not much change you can do there. Let's be honest, they are who they are, right? You can't really change them. I mean, you can try, but you can also be very frustrated. To an extent, you can't really change your children, okay? You can't really change your spouse unless they're ready and they want to change. And who's to say that what you want to change them into is what they should be anyway? But when it comes to your work, you can change it. You can change it. So if that means finding different way of working, trying to effect change where you are, or just leave altogether. If it's too much headache, just leave. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. I don't want to be this is one thing I say, and it makes me sound really old. But I don't want to be 70 years old and think,
How
why
old are
do
you? Do you want to say it in public?
I'm 35.
Yeah, just so we have some perspective. So you say.
So I don't want to be, so I'm 35 now. I don't want to be 75 and thinking, why did I spend 20 years working, doing that job that I absolutely hate?
Imagine if you had spent 20 years in that first place.
Trying to be
You
what,
would
you
be
know.
a wrinkled old woman by now.
I'll be so unhappy, you know. And I don't want to spend time looking back and thinking, this is one thing that I could have changed. And I didn't change it because I just didn't have the courage to do it. Or I was trying to conform, or I was just running a rat race and saying, oh, I've got to pay the bills, so I'm just going to, accept anything that's thrown at me. If that's something you can change, just do it. Do it for yourself, if not for anything else. Do it for your mental health. Do it. Anyway, I think I've said a lot already.
I wish
as I usually tend to do, right?
I wish we would talk some more. Okay, well, anyway, so you've finished your exams, you've done the thing now, you got the certification now.
Yeah, I think it will come through in the post at some point.
Oh wow, okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
I was getting ready for it the last time we spoke. Okay, yeah. So tell us 3 things that we don't know. Okay, tell us one thing that we don't know about mental health, then we'll go. Or one thing
that we don't know,
or we don't think about often, that we need.
I think our mental health is one of the most neglected aspects of our lives. Is one thing that we neglect. So when you have a headache, you take paracetamol or you go and rest or whatever you need to do. So that's your physical health. Mm-hmm. That you've taken care of in that sense. But our mental health, we just assume, we don't look after it. Is one thing that we don't tend to look after.
Or even
so we kind of neglect it, or we do it infrequently. So self-care, for example, so for some people, getting their nails done, I'm not a nails person, but for some people, having that time, just sitting there, somebody polishing your nails
that's self-care for them.
That's self-care for them. And we kind of feel guilty when we go and do that. Sometimes thinking, oh, the time I'm spending here, this 25 pounds or whatever I'm spending on these nails, I could use this and I could do that. But what you get out of that is more important than that feeling of just being happy. It does a lot to you in terms of how relaxed you are in that moment. It kind of helps you sometimes to put things into perspective. That time when you get to just focus on yourself and leave all your troubles behind. So I think our mental health is something that we tend to neglect a lot, and it's something that we need to bring to the forefront. Do your self-care.
Message. I was saying it's interesting you said that. I sent a message to a friend of mine. We're meant to be doing a Zoom call for career women. Mm-hmm. And we've done one on LinkedIn, and we've done one on finance, and then I now had a brainwave yesterday. So like 4 a.m. last night, or when I sent her the message, I was like, we need to do something on how to take care of your skin, and then I now had to explain to her. I said, taking care of your skin, it doesn't really seem to have anything to do with your career, but taking care of your skin is probably one of those things that you might be able to develop some self-care rituals.
And confidence as well.
And confidence, all those kind of things. So it really is, initially it seems is not relevant, but it's actually,
it's very important. So, and so going back to the mental health is that part of your mental health is also how resilient you are and how you are able to bounce back when life throws you curveballs. If you have a poor mental health, you have a poor sense of who you are, you have a poor sense of, you're not self-aware where your body is giving you signs that something is not quite right, and then something really difficult happens. Guess what? It's very difficult for you to bounce back. from that. So it's building.
I was talking with Mayan, Mayan, and I was we were talking about fitness, funny enough. And I told her that one of the important things I learned about fitness is not how far you can run or how high you can jump. Fitness is how short is your recovery time. Mm-hmm. That's actually the indicator of your fitness. Like now, if I climb 2 flights of stairs, it might take me like 10 minutes to recover. Somebody that's fit, will take them a minute. They will still breathe heavily when they get to the top of the staircase, but after 30 seconds, a minute, they are back. Me, half an hour later, I'm saying, then that is where you know the difference in the
difference, yeah. So something that you unplanned happened to you, how you are able to bounce back from that. And then it's also to be self-aware. What are the predisposing factors? Actually, I think this is another whole conversation that we need to have. Okay, so what are the predisposing factors for me as a person? So you might think about genetics, whether the people with, and trust me, at some point, I can't remember the statistics. We've all had poor mental health at some point or another. So there shouldn't be any stigma attached to it. What are the predisposing factors for me? Do you have people with history of maybe psychosis in your family, for example? Not to say that then means that you also immediately have it, but you're aware. Depression, am I predisposed to these things? For you to be aware of that.
What about like addictions?
Addictions, alcohol. I'm tired. Oh, I've had a really difficult day. I'm going to crash into bed. Or, oh, I'm tired. I've had a really difficult day. I'm going to open a bottle of wine. That becomes 2. Right? And that's how I cope. That's if I say, oh, that's my Friday. TGIF, right? YOLO. I only live once. I'm going to drink. I'm going to do that. But then it becomes 2 bottles. It becomes every week. Then it becomes Thursday night and Friday nights. Or it might even be food. Food is good, right? I love food. I'm always eating. It then becomes, how much food am I actually eating? Am I eating emotionally? That's part of our mental health that we need to be aware of. Am I an emotional eater? When something is not right, do I open a tub of ice cream that's meant for the whole family and just eat everything?
Yeah. It's funny you said that, because there was one time something happened. I was really, really upset. Like, angry, like, in a rage. And I remember the first thought that came to my mind was like 3 things came to my mind, and I was like, okay, this makes me know that these are the 3 things that I do when I'm angry. One was something about, I first of all said I was going to eat something. And I said I was not going to have a shower. I'm just going straight to bed, So you don't, that self-care thing, you neglect your self-care when you're having some kind of emotional upset. You eat when you have that emotional upset as well. Things like, people say, oh, they wake up, they don't brush their teeth, or they've not had a shower for 3 days. It's has to do with your state of mind.
Yeah, why is that happening?
Yeah, so exactly. So having that awareness of like, okay, why am I doing this, or why am I feeling this way, or this is what usually happens. So I can feel myself. You said the other day, was it buffering or spiraling or something? When you see yourself, actually, you begin to go around in circles, in your thoughts or in your worries or that kind of thing.
Yeah. So, and if and I think there's a stigma that we've attached to when we mention mental health. People are immediately start thinking about somebody that is having like a massive psychosis, self breakdown or something, and it's not. That's like the other end of the spectrum. It's not always about that. There might be people that you are working with on a day-to-day basis that even live in the same house, and they're having like a really difficult time. And just for me, just difficult for their health.
Is one, we need to be more aware of the fact that mental health is not this far away thing. It is part of all our lives.
Yeah.
And it's something that nobody is exempt from. And
Nope.
then also what you said is that we need to have more awareness of ourselves, so that we know, what predispositions that we have. Some
Yes.
people are predisposed to, I have a friend, she's predisposed to being depressed. So people have different predispositions or whatever. So I suppose, being aware of what you are more, what affects you, and then you also mentioned the resilience. So that's three things,
I
knowing.
think we're going to need a mental health session
Yes, I think so too. I
so
think.
that we are aware and what can we do. And you find that most of the time it's not the big things. When we think, what can we do? People are thinking like big grand gestures. Sometimes it's really not that grand. It's just the things that you can do for yourself, for people in your family or your friends, those that are around you. Might be some people in these COVID times that are not, they're not okay with the whole thing. And we've had work to block out all those worries that we'd had previously, because you just go to work, you come back. That commute has kind of taken the edge off a little bit. But now we are all at home and you are so in touch with yourself. You've never been so in touch with yourself before.
Yeah, that's what somebody was saying. They were talking about marriage, though. Was it you? Was it you that was talking about marriage? It was almost like you had work to go to, so you didn't really address what was going on at home.
Yeah, but now
Now
you're on top of each other at home. You would have to have that conversation at some point.
Yeah. So there's things that we've been able to cope with by getting into the routine of go to work, after work, go to the pub with a couple of friends, come home, watch TV, have dinner, go to bed.
Yeah.
Now you don't have all that again. It's almost like you're faced with yourself.
You're looking in the mirror.
So then that means you're coming back for us to do something.
Always a pleasure. You know me, and I absolutely love what you're doing. It makes sense. Some things just make sense. Like there's doing for the sake of doing, right? Like just forming activity, like I call it.
Yeah.
Just trying to be busy. And then there are some things that just make sense. What you're doing is something that just makes sense and is really much needed. Not just, in this pandemic, but generally. So I really have enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I like talking. I like talking to you as well.
I was like, why am I doing this? That's the same thing that you were saying. You just said. I was like, why am I doing this? What am I? Is it just for, just to be seen online or
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that's just an unintended consequence of it. Okay, that if you put it online, it will be seen online. But what about the people that are going to listen to this in 12 months' time? And they're going to think, actually, I used to feel like that. Or, okay, that makes sense. That would help me. You don't know. It's sharing value. So you're not just there taking, selfies and posting it. It's just for the sake of it. It's value that you're offering, to people. And I think it's really, congratulations, I would say to you, and well done. But I'm sure there are other things that you could have been doing with your time.
Thank you.
But it's really good. Well done.
Thank you. All right then. Good night.
All right. Take care. Have a good day. Enjoy the rest of the day.